Good morning, everyone. This is Ira Maybe Tagud, and we are going to talk about gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is when someone hurts or threatens to hurt another person because of their identity, how they identify as a gender, or who they are attracted to. So it is a complex issue with many different forms, but at its core, it's about power and control. Now, these are the three main components of GBV: the power, force or violence, and informed consent. Now, let's talk about power. Power, it is where perpetrators can have real or perceived power. So, some examples of the different types of power are the social power. So this refers to power derived from social standing, influence, or relationships. For example, include peer pressure, bullying, authority figures like leaders, teachers, and parents. So, for example, imagine a group of men or teenagers pressuring a girl to send revealing photos, threatening to harm her if she refuses. So, the group's social power compels her to comply even if she doesn't want to. Another type or example of power is the economic power. So this involves control over financial resources, access to goods and services, or the ability to provide withhold necessities. Examples include controlling money or access to resources, sometimes wielded by husbands or fathers. So, example is a husband controls all the family finances, refusing to give his wife any money, thereby controlling her ability to leave the relationship or pursue her own goals. Next is the political power. This stems from positions of political authority or through discriminatory laws and policies. Examples include elected officials or laws that disadvantage certain groups. For example, the corrupt official. A police officer who refuses to investigate a report of domestic violence because the perpetrator is a wealthy or influential person. Next one is the physical power. So this is based on physical strength, size or positions of weapons. Examples include soldiers, police, or gang members who can control access to security. For example, a man physically assaults his wife using his superior strength to inflict harm. The next one is a gender-based power, the social. This highlights the societal power imbalances between genders, often with males holding more power than female. So age is also a factor, with young and elderly people often having less power. For example, workplace harassment. A woman faces constant sexual harassment at work because her male colleagues believe they have power over her due to societal gender norms. The next one is the age-related power. This points out that age can also significantly influence power dynamics, with young and elderly individuals frequently holding less power. Example, the teenager dating violence. A young person is controlled and abused by an older partner who uses their maturity and experience to manipulate and dominate them. So that is those are the different examples of power. Now let's talk about the force. Force in GBV or gender-based violence isn't just physical. It can be emotional, social, or economic. It's about using power to control someone. For example, in the physical, no, hitting, kicking, pushing, or restraining. So that is the example of physical force. The emotional force. constant insults, threats, intimidations, controlling behavior, isolating someone, or and gaslighting threats or self-harm to suicide. Next is the social force. Social force like spreading social force like spreading rumors, ostracizing someone from their social circles, sabotaging their relationship. The next one is the economic force, controlling access to money, jobs, or resources, financial abuse. So that is economic. Next one is the Coercion and pressure. Force often involves making someone do something against their will through coercion or threats or blackmail, or pressure, manipulation, and guilt tripping. Next is the violence. Violence is the use of physical force or other coercive tactics to get something from someone weaker or more vulnerable. It's about using power to dominate and harm. Some example of violence is the physical violence. Any form of physical assault, including hitting, kicking, slapping, or using weapons, to enforce violence. Next is the threats, verbal threats of harm, violence, or revenge. Inducement, offering a benefit, example money or a gift, to someone in a vulnerable position to obtain something from them. So this can be seen in various forms of exploitation. Now, the next one is the informed consent. Consent means freely and voluntarily agreeing to something. Informed consent means you understand what you're agreeing to, and you make the choice without pressure or coercion in situation where power is balanced. Gender-based violence and consent. It's an acts of GBV always occur without informed consent. Even if someone says yes, it's not true consent if they were forced, threatened, or manipulated into saying it. No? The perpetrators use some form of power to get compliance. Children and consent. Children under 18 are legally considered unable to give informed consent for acts like sexual relations, marriage, or female genital cutting. Now for the last one, the cycle of violence. The cyclical nature of violence in relationships. It starts with minor incidents and gradually escalates to more serious levels of violence. So this cycle can be very difficult to break and often repeats. This highlights that the cycle of violence can begin in childhood. If a child experiences or witnesses violence, they may repeat this pattern in their own. So I hope you learned something from my topic. That's all, and